Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
And welcome back in. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach, the strongest signal Ravens affiliate on the eastern shore of Maryland and Delaware. Don't forget kickoff on the radio, the kickoff period going to be at 4:25 at M&T Bank Stadium. Pre-game show is going to be at 3:55, so if you can't catch it on TV, don't forget to catch it on the radio. And also the Ravens Wrap Show here that we do for Comcast Beach TV is also played back at 11 o'clock Sunday mornings on 93.5 The Beach, so your chance to catch it again or maybe catch it for the first time. So Ravens Giants, Giants 8-6, the Ravens 9-5. The Giants have lost 2 of the last 3. The Ravens have lost 3 straight. So a big game for both teams as we've talked about. I do want to break down just a little bit before we get into it. The AFC North. If you take a look, Cincinnati Thursday night football, they defeated the Eagles after being down 13-10 at halftime. They were up 10-0. The Eagles came back, and then the Eagles have something like 4 or 5 straight turnovers in a row. It was crazy. So Cincinnati, they've won 3 or 4 straight themselves. They've really taken care of business. They've beaten the teams they should. Philadelphia, they beat Oakland, they beat Kansas City. There's one other team in there that I'm missing that they defeated. But they're 8-6 right now. They stand in second place behind the Ravens. Pittsburgh, we talked about the Steelers in segment 1. They fell to the Cowboys in their game, and then Cleveland, despite a close one, they lost as well. So the deal is Cincinnati and Pittsburgh play each other on Sunday, and if Cincinnati wins and we lose, then the division's going to be up for grabs the following week at Cincinnati. If we win, that'll take care of business. The good news we have going for us, we're 4-1 in the division. Cincinnati right now is at 1-3. Pittsburgh's at 2-2. But still have to take care of business, although we are in the playoffs. But the Bengals kind of making, no one's really talking about them, but they're making a little bit of a resurgence in the AFC North this year.
Defense is playing well. They're kicking it in a little, so they're going to be a factor coming up here in the near future as well. Yep. Seasons to come.
No question about it. Well, let's start to break it down with the Ravens and Giants. We started to talk a little bit, but we didn't break down. Eli Manning, Dennis, is very similar to Dennis E. By the way, our special Giants insider. Eli Manning, kind of similar to Joe Flacco. Obviously he's got 2 Super Bowls, but you talk about the inconsistency, but the fact that Eli Manning's able to bounce back at times. And Joe used to be able to do that. This year, it seems like when he's off, he's completely off. But Manning has that ability to kind of bounce back after some tough outings.
Yeah, he does, and we've seen it before. We've seen it in Super Bowls before. The last 2 minutes of the game, taking his team down the field, going to no huddle, doing a 2-minute drill, and winning Super Bowls, the biggest game at the dance. And again, it just gets frustrating during the regular season when you're out there playing games, and some of these games that we should be winning. And you see Eli Manning that kind of reverts back to his rookie year, as John mentioned earlier, and it's disheartening because I think in a lot of ways that team goes as Eli goes, and I think in a lot of ways if Eli gets down early, it's a rough road. It's the game gets a little bit tougher. We've seen him bounce back and we've seen him come back, but sometimes his confidence gets a little bit rattled, and it's a challenge.
That could be important for the Ravens if, defensively. They came out very strongly against Peyton Manning in Denver to begin the first half, first 4 or 5 series. They did a good job at 3 and out. So if that's something hopefully the Ravens can do again, maybe get Eli off, that may certainly help as the game goes along, John.
Clearly the Ravens defense is going to need to make Eli uncomfortable. He's a pro. He's figured the game out. The game's kind of has gotten to the place now. This is what we hope for Joe, obviously, is that it slows down and it just comes to you. The instinctual part of the game happens, because in college, you're so good at your talent. You don't need your brain because your talent is just so much better than everyone else. So when people say, "Oh, Alabama could beat the Jets," or "Alabama could beat," who's the worst team? Kansas City. That's ridiculous. Alabama has 3 or 4 or 5 pros on their team. The Chiefs have 53 pros on their team. You know what I mean? So. This is what Eli's figured it out. Drew Brees, similar situation, figured it out. And Joe hasn't figured it out yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get him off his mark, make him uncomfortable, get in his face. We don't need to sack him, but hit him and make him move. He's going to pick us apart. So that's going to be a key piece of the action. And the Giants like to run the ball, too. So they are not one-dimensional at all.
Well, you take a look at this offense, at least statistically speaking. They're ranked 10th overall, 15th rushing the football, 9th passing. So they're a fairly balanced team. I'll take the 10th best offense right now, considering we're 21st. So that's not too bad. Now, I guess let's first start with the running game. If Ahmad Bradshaw doesn't go, you mentioned David Wilson, who was a draft pick out of Virginia Tech. Bradshaw's more of an in-between-the-tackle runner, if I'm not mistaken. How is David Wilson different? What can the Ravens expect from him if he should start?
Well, David Wilson is a speed runner. We see that, and he's our kickoff return man as well. And we saw that in the Saints game when we returned one 97 or 98 yards for a touchdown. He's a guy that does very well in the outside game, the sweeps and outside the tackles, things of that nature. Whereas Bradshaw, he's the guy that you can pound right up the middle. A small guy stature-wise, but runs like a bull. And we've all seen it. He runs the ball well up the middle and a hard guy to bring down. Whereas David Wilson, if we can get him in open space, he's going to be a real hard guy to catch.
Although, John, teams have certainly run the football quite effectively between the tackles, so that may play into our hands if Bradshaw doesn't start or doesn't play, I should say, on Sunday.
I tell you, David Wilson, the Ravens have trouble against running backs like David Wilson. A lot of people don't know about him. The Giants liked him more than Doug Martin, a fellow rookie coming out who's had a great year with Tampa Bay. The Giants love this guy, and David Martin fumbled on his second or third carry of game 1 of this year, and immediately in the doghouse, no one ever heard from him again. So he's just now poked his head out. They actually brought in a grocery store clerk, or I don't know what he was, but what was the guy? He's
this past weekend?
Andre Brown or something?
Yeah, they brought in Andre Brown. Yeah,
earlier
he was
in the
injured
year.
and was placed on IR. And Andre Brown was having a good season.
He's having a good year. He's on IR. So now David Wilson's been forced to play, and his talent is coming through. So if he can hit it if he gets the confidence to hit it in between the tackles, where the Ravens have completely been dominated, go figure with Haloti Ngata there, right? But if he gets an open space, he's gone. I mean, there is just no catching this guy.
And I think that's the key, John. If he gets past that defensive line and can get into a little open area, he's going to be tough to catch. Yeah, you're not going to catch him from behind. He's a fast runner. He's a quick guy.
We're going to need to tackle. We're going to need to clog those lanes.
We talked about 2 inside linebackers that are 4th stringers playing now, basically for the Ravens, 4th and 5th stringers. So that certainly could be an issue. You mentioned the wide receivers. Now, Akeem Nicks, excellent, tall, big wide receiver. He's playing a little gimpy. That may play into the Ravens' favor. But Victor Cruz is a guy that has certainly emerged from UMass, and he's a guy that he can play in the slot, but he's also an outside guy. I mean, as you well know, Dennis, I mean, he's a great vertical speed guy. He can also run intermediate, so he's got the complete package of wide receiver.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's a guy that I think every NFL team would probably want on his team, too, because he's a good person as well as a good receiver. Works hard, very well liked in the community, very well liked by his team. If you watch any of the NFL news, just did a great thing up there with the incident in Newtown, Connecticut. Right. Found out that one of the victims of that horrible event up in Newtown, Connecticut was a Victor Cruz fan. That was his favorite player, and was even laid to rest in a Victor Cruz jersey. Well, he rode on his cleats for the Atlanta Falcon game. Too bad it couldn't have been a better result, but he rode on his cleats for this young victim up there. And then after the game, he individually, without any press, without any media, drove the cleats up to the family's house and knocked on the door and gave the cleats and signed jersey and spent 4 hours with the family. So, I mean, that just speaks volumes to the man that Victor Cruz is as well, in addition to being a great receiver for the New York Giants. Proud to have him on the Giants team, that's for sure.
Well, certainly, the Ravens are going to have to make sure to target and shut down. You talked about the offensive line a little bit, some injuries. As a whole, though, how would you assess it? Is it a better run-blocking offensive line or a better pass-blocking offensive line?
Well, to me, it depends on which offensive line shows up, you know. And again, we do have a couple of injuries there, so that's going to be key for us as well, especially at the right guard position. But when they want to be, they're a great run-blocking team. They really are when they want to be. We saw it with the Dave Wilson and the Ahmad Bradshaws. And they have games where they come out and they keep Eli upright, where he's not touched or anybody's near him for the whole game. So again, it's the inconsistency. It depends on what offensive line is going to show up.
John, I guess defensively, we talked to Dennis about this. You talked about their pass rush, or you alluded to their pass rush a little bit earlier. You know, those guys can get after a base 4-3 defense. Osemele and Orr, they're going to have their work cut out for them on Sunday.
Yeah, you know, the Giants have these guys coming off the edge, but they're not getting that many sacks this year. I mean, really, they're in the middle of the pack in the league. So, you know, struggle defensively. It's just not a given that they're going to get after the quarterback. However, that's a good group of guys over there that get after it. And
you got Tuck and Canny and Joseph and Pierre-Paul and, you know, O.C.U. Manure as well.
I mean, it is just deep, and they are quick, and they can beat you man on man, and they'll beat two of your guys too. So you know, this is just a situation. Our offensive line's been struggling. Joe Flacco's been getting hit. Joe Flacco's been fumbling the ball, and you know they're watching tape. And you know they're not just going to be coming to sack. They're going to be coming with a sack and an arm swiping down on the ball. Yep. And so it's going to be interesting. We're just going to have to block. Max protection may be in order here, so we just have to see what happens with the running games or keeping the tight ends in or whatever we're going to have to do there.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis, I was reading that a lot of the reason why, like Jason Pierre-Paul had some 16 sacks last year, only 6.5 now, which we'd take in a heartbeat really for many of our guys, is the fact that teams have schemed against preventing them from getting after it in terms of chipping them, keeping a tight end, what have you. So, I mean, that's been, at least what I've been reading, has been one of the reasons.
Yeah,
so.
Clearly after an all-pro season last year, and you see it every game, he's double, triple team, and that means that the other guys have to step up. Sure. Right. It's clear the Justin Tucks need to step up, the O.C.U. Manures. You need a big game out of O.C.U. Manure against a quarterback like Joe Flacco, who's been prone this year to dropping back, holding that ball out there and getting a hand on it and causing some fumbles. So those other defensive linemen need to step up because, yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul is soaking up some blockers.
And the other thing, too, guys, is it's not just the sacks or making Joe uncomfortable. It's also getting your hands up. These guys are long and lean, and you know, they can tip some balls like we saw against our trouble against Houston. So even when J.J. Watt wasn't putting pressure, he was tipping ball. I don't know how many balls he tipped. So they're watching that game, too, I'm sure.
The good news is we will wrap it up here. Got about 45 seconds. The good news is for the Ravens offense is defensively, the Giants are 28th overall, 22 against the rush, 28 against the pass. So we've heard it, though. You run the football against the Giants. That's going to be the key. But 30 seconds, John, your prediction?
Well, I'm just going to say that you know, one team's going to turn it around. I'm saying it's going to be the Giants. They've done it before, 23-17 Giants.
All right. Go ahead, Dennis.
Going to be a barn burner. I think it's going to come down to another 2-minute drive by Eli Manning to come down the field. I'll say 28-21, New York Giants.
All right, I'll take the Ravens 21-17, but we'll go out and run the football. Folks, that's going to do it. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all. We're back next week. Thank you, Dennis. It's the Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.